Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Complete Sports Media Podcast. I'm your host, Darren Campbell, coming to you on a long weekend, Remembrance Day here in Canada, Veterans Day down in the US, and a welcome day. We've been suffering through some pretty brutal weather lately. Luckily, today's not too bad, and it's a lot brighter in my studio here, a lot brighter where Jason is here. Of course, Jason joining us to do a wrap up of the weekend of sports. How has your long weekend been going so far?
Quiet and restful.
No.
Like that's pretty much all I ask for on weekends now from doing this job. Like it just, I can confidently say the job is hard enough that when the weekends come, it brutalizes me to the point that I don't want to do anything, which is perfect.
Nice.
All I want to do is just go home, wake up, and be like, "Oh, sweet, the couch," and then that's it. And then stretch and roll out anything that's sore, which is everything. And so, yeah, that's it. Those are my.
Yeah, well, I'm glad you get the opportunity to rest and relax. In film, not necessarily we're getting all that time, all the time. So it's good that it's a Monday to Friday thing, and long weekends can help. Remind me the name of the landscaping company again?
Millennium Landscaping.
Millennium. Okay, so this segment brought to you by Millennium Landscaping. And, so what's the weather supposed to be like this coming week? Have you looked ahead?
Oh, I never look ahead because I'm just like, I'm pretty sure I know what it's going to be, which is brutal. So I don't need to know that much. Hopefully there's going to be some sunlight today. That would be nice. That would be great because Friday, I guess during this last couple of weeks, the leaves have started to fall.
Yeah.
And so Friday was just leaves galore at this one site that I was in Surrey. It was so much that I was like, there's no way I'm going to be done in time. It was one of those things where you look at it, you go, oh yeah, I'm going to be here for forever. This is awesome. It's great. But I will say this, there's a similarity between landscaping and film where you don't think you're going to get it done, but you do.
Yeah.
And that is the similarity because we had a huge push at the end. There was a ton of us picking up leaves. So if you can imagine a soccer pitch with a foot of leaves, that's the equivalent of what we picked up.
Yeah. Holy crap. Yeah. I went downtown. I think it must have been Friday. And I could not believe the storm that was happening. It was rain, and it just seemed like every leaf on every tree was going across the roads and all over the place. And I was like, wow, this is a fall day. This is a crazy fall day. And it seemed like, it was one of the biggest, most blusteriest kind of fall days that you ever saw. And I thought of you briefly. I thought, today's going to be pretty tough out there.
Oh yeah, and it was. But at the same time, I was still amazed that I was able to get out of there. The day finished at 4:30, and when I say 4:30, I mean on the dot. 4:30 done.
Nice.
And like amazing. So I came home that night, that evening, and I was like, yeah, I'm super done. Super done.
Well, we should promote the landscaping company all the time. I guess it just never hurts to have your boss get more business. And, so we write up a small little blurb that you say or I say, every podcast, and just give him a little bit of promotion and heads up. And it can't hurt, probably only help.
Oh, yeah, sure. More work for me is awesome. Yes. Can't hurt at all. Can't hurt.
Okay, good. It's been a great week. I got to see the last Kiss tour in the history. That was pretty fantastic. They put on an amazing show for guys that are in their mid-70s. It was shocking how long they performed and how great they did. It was very, very, very impressive for guys that have been doing it for 50 years. happy we went. And yeah, Lorraine actually said it was one of the best concerts she's ever seen in her life. So it was really fun.
Where was it? Where was the concert?
At Rogers Arena.
Okay. And so this is their last hurrah, as it should be, since they're in their 70s, which is even more impressive that they're still doing this at 70.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it. The things that they did during the show. At one point, the lead singer Paul Stanley stepped on a little bit of a I don't know what you call it. He put himself in a little bit of a harness type of a thing. Just his foot into the strap, and then all of a sudden shot across the arena, across the tops of everybody, and landed on a stage way near the back, and with his guitar, and played and sung out there for a couple songs. They got onto these huge. They came down originally from these huge platforms that were coming down off of cables, landed on the stage. They got onto rising platforms all the time. The two guitarists, the bassist and the guitarist, got onto these platforms that ended up spinning out around the whole crowd, right over top of everybody on the floor. And they were wearing platform boots that are probably like 2 feet tall and the whole time, and crazy, amazing costumes. Gene Simmons breathing fire, and just awesome stuff, just like unreal, for guys to be able to be in that type of shape still and do the things they did. It was, yeah, very unreal, very inspiring, very cool.
That's great. It's great that nobody got hurt, twisted an ankle, blew out a freaking knee. Because you still have to remember they're in their 70s and still rocking it out. Like, yeah. I thought you were gonna say something that was not that. Like, where it was just like, no, they were just on the one stage and they played. Because that's kind of what I would expect, not that.
No. And the pyrotechnics that are going off the entire time. Like, we were up in the top level, and we had great seats, but a lot of the explosions would go off, and you could feel the heat just whoosh come over you over and over. And they were on stage for a couple hours at least, and explosions going off. Like the heat that they must have felt from behind the entire night, wasn't it just insane?
Yeah, man. Like that's them losing a couple pounds in sweat for sure. And especially for the fans that were down on the floor, like they must have felt like they were in a
sauna. Yeah. Then the confetti came down, just buckets and buckets of confetti, and just it was one of the wildest, coolest things. And I've seen them before, but it just seems so much more impressive, being that their age and all the things that they've done, and being this 50 years, like. It's just, it was mind-blowing and so great, and made me feel like, they gave me my money's worth and way more. So that was nice. And we've been really active and busy lately. We actually realized at the end of that show, oh man, that's the last concert of the year I think we've got. And we went to quite a few shows this year, and almost all of them we were really happy and super impressed with. So all in all, a fantastic 2023 for concerts. And we've got a Canucks game to look forward to this Wednesday. This is our one that we won the grand prize of for the Inniskillen Wine Company, and it's our anniversary, so we get to go that night. And we got our jerseys. You saw a picture. I sent you a picture. We got a Thatcher Demko and Quinn Hughes throwback jersey signed. Pretty cool once it arrived, and we got to see our prize in physical form.
Oh, that's awesome. So who gets what? Who gets Demko and who gets Hughes?
We haven't even decided that yet, but I'm leaning towards Quinn Hughes a little bit myself, but either or. I didn't know who was what the jerseys were going to be and who they were going to be, and they couldn't have picked two of the better guys. Like, these are, to me, the two most valuable guys on the team, and so to get the signed jerseys from both of them was just unreal.
Maybe for your gift for the anniversary, right? You should just let her pick. I'm gonna let you pick.
Okay.
That's my gift to you.
Good suggestion. We'll see how that flies.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
It was funny. When we went to the concert, the Kiss concert, we went with Lorraine's cousin and her best friend, and we were out at Brown's having some dinner, and I said, oh yeah, for our anniversary, we're going to this Canucks game, and she looked at me and goes, "Oh my God, Darren, that's terrible. What a I can't believe that you would give her Canucks tickets for an anniversary present." And I said, "No, it's actually her anniversary present to me." And then she's go, "Oh, okay, that's good. That's good." And I'm like, that's kind of a double standard where it's great if she gives me those, but if I turned around and give her those, it's not the coolest anniversary gift. So it was a little double standard, I think.
You know, that's the great thing about our society nowadays. Women can do no wrong with whatever they give us. If you've gotten a tie, it's like, oh, that's fantastic. My goodness, you got a tie, actually? And then if we said, oh, I gave her this, and this, it's like, well, that was clearly not enough. Why didn't you give her more?
Yeah, right.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
I suck, I guess.
Yeah, true that. That's the way it goes. So just accept it and move on, right?
Exactly. You have to accept it. Or you could be like me and just be alone forever.
Okay.
That's your choice.
All right. Yeah, I'll weigh those options. Okay. That's awesome.
Yes, I know. It's great. It's great.
Saturday here in the city, it was really busy again, just like it was last weekend. We had BC Lions playing at the same time the Vancouver Canucks are playing. Canucks are on a 3-game road trip back east. They played Ottawa, Toronto, Montreal. BC Lions had their big playoff game, the Western Final over in Winnipeg. So those two games were going at the same time, and then partway through that game, the UFC started. So I had a big decision to make. What the heck am I going to do? How am I going to make this all work? So I decided I'd watch the playoff game for the most part because it was, more important than a regular season Canucks game. I could record the early part of the UFC and then watch the main card later. So, but the Lions lost, the Canucks lost. So it started off my night really quite crappy and I was in a bad mood. But I showed up to the UFC, got to go out and watch it. And it was one of the best cards in the history of the sport, I think. I might be recency bias talking about it, but for every single fight on the card to all be knockouts and have a lot of really incredible results, it was a absolutely fantastic way to end my evening.
Yeah, no, it was. I watched it from start to finish, and I would agree with you, it was one of the best UFCs I've seen. And with the fact that the main card it went the way it did.
Yeah.
And by the way, I think the most shocking KO was the co-main event by far and away.
Yeah.
That was the most shocking one of all of them.
Yeah.
But it was fantastic. We'll get to that later, but really good card. Really
good. Incredible card. Yeah. So so the BC Lions, they ended up losing 24-13 to Winnipeg. It was really frustrating. They had a game plan that just wasn't working. Their offensive line let Vernon Adams be harassed the entire night. I think he got sacked 9 times. I think that's the final figure. He got trapped in the pocket almost on every play. He went back, and there just didn't seem to be any room for him to move outside the pocket. And he's a bit of a small guy, and he was just like, uh-oh, what am I going to do? And he would just turn and look and turn, and then boom, he'd be sacked. And it was like over and over and over and over. And I thought, oh man, this is going to be rough. And at halftime, it was 18-3 going into half, and they had one last play. Vernon Adams threw up a Hail Mary pass that was caught in the end zone. and McInnes ended up getting the touchdown to make it 18-10. And they were so thoroughly dominated in the first half that it was like, this game is practically done. Like if it was 18-3, I would have been like, maybe I won't even bother. But, luckily they got the Hail Mary 18-10. It's only a one score with a 2-point convert. So you're like, okay, this is doable. They were being run upon so badly. Their defensive line, the holes were opening up, and their running back for Winnipeg, he got over 100 yards in the first half. Brady Oliveira, and the guy was just finding holes. And so both lines, when you have your offensive line not doing great, your defensive line not doing great, you're in trouble in football. And the Lions were in severe trouble. They, for some reason, they never could get Vernon Adams out in space. Like in the Western semifinal, he was able to score 3 touchdowns running. He was able to get out there, find his receivers out in space, and the Winnipeg just had a perfect game plan: shut him down, run the ball, keep the ball as much as we can, and outscore them, and they did. So it was tough.
Yeah, well, I guess Winnipeg's game plan obviously was our defensive line can dominate their offensive line, and which is exactly what happened. So you didn't have time to really look down the field if it's pockets always constantly collapsing.
Yeah.
And even with the play action that they probably tried to run, but Winnipeg is not worried about the run because it's like, we don't have to worry about your run game because it's going to be garbage. You're just going to hit our front seven. It's going to be done.
Yeah.
It's going to be annihilated. So that sucks for the Lions, but hopefully going forward, I guess they know where they need to improve at, which is they need a better offensive line and defensive line. You need better players.
Yeah, well, the two Lions just had a bad day, and their running game was just not there all season long. So they're going to have to address that. When you don't have a running game, then they can cue on the quarterback. They can shut down your passing attack, and the Lions had a pretty good year. But if they would have been able to have a decent or good running game, I think they have a really good shot at winning it all this year. But with those deficiencies, it was bad. I was very frustrated though that they couldn't figure out how to make those adjustments at halftime and change the narrative, because they saw what happened in that first half. The definitions of insanity, doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. It doesn't happen. They didn't make any changes, which is unreal and very frustrating. I don't know why they wouldn't have.
Yeah, that's the head scratching thing, because like they just didn't make the adjustments that they needed. Yeah. Or maybe it's because the adjustments that they could have made wouldn't have made any effect anyways.
Yeah.
Although at the same time, you still got to try.
Might as well give it a shot. Yeah. The Eastern Final was a huge upset. Montreal pulled off one of the biggest upsets in history. Toronto went 16-2 in the regular season, super dominant, defending champions, Grey Cup champs, and Montreal ended up forcing 9 turnovers in the game. That's got to be a record, I think. 9 turnovers is insane. Picked off Chad Kelly, the most outstanding player, 4 times. Forced 3 fumbles, were able to get them stopped on downs on a couple of occasions. And, there's no way a team's winning when they have 9 turnovers.
No. That's pretty much impossible. That's an impossible feat that they had. So well done, Montreal. That's impressive.
Yeah. So that game ended up 38-17 Alouettes. Honestly, Montreal didn't have to do a ton on offense. They only had 175 yards passing, and even not huge amounts of offense there. They were able to just get a lot of short fields, get some pick sixes, get a lot of scores easily. So it's Winnipeg and Montreal in the Grey Cup in Hamilton. Kickoff is 3 p.m. this coming Sunday. It's going to be a great event out there. I saw the schedule of events, and there's 40 different musical acts performing as the weekend progresses. Carrie Underwood is having a huge concert, and Green Day is playing the halftime show. And if you've never been to a Grey Cup, do that. It's just, it really makes you feel proud to be Canadian. It makes you really see how patriotic a lot of people are, how a lot of people from even they come from cities where the team is not even in the Grey Cup, and they come and celebrate football, celebrate Canada. Every single team has a house. They'll have a hotel where you can go and you can celebrate the Eskimos, the Stampeders, the Lions, the Alouettes, whoever. And it's just amazing. I've been to so many over the years, and it's really something that you should do as a Canadian, just to see the outpouring of love and support for the game as well as the country as a whole.
Yeah, I've been to a couple Grey Cups myself, and it's quite the event.
Yeah.
There's an air of excitement to it that is unsurpassed in many sporting events. So it's just a lot of fun.
It's amazing. It's very, very fun. Okay, talk about the Canucks. They lost that night. I talked about 5-2. Funny enough, all three games on this road trip all ended the score 5-2. Canucks won 2 out of the 3, and Canucks are second place in the NHL division, in their division, and they are they're having an absolutely amazing start to the year. Great road trip, winning 2 of 3. Their backup goalie Casey DeSmith actually started the first and third games of the road trip and won both of those. And unfortunately they lost to the Leafs. They were playing pretty good, and then they just kind of lost it at the end. But I'm super impressed with the Canucks, what they're doing. And their next game is Wednesday, like I said, going there against the Islanders, my favorite team growing up. So it's going to be nice to see them back home and support them heavily. I don't remember this much enthusiasm about the Canucks in like a dozen years. So this is nice to finally see them playing super well. And, it's starting to get a dozen games of the season. I don't think, we can say this is a fluke. This is really something legit.
Yeah, which is nice because, we have something to cheer for, cheer about. They're good.
Yeah.
We haven't been able to say that for quite a long time, like a long time. So it's refreshing to see that they're doing well.
And the baby Canucks, the Abbotsford Canucks from your hometown, they're actually doing fantastic too. They're tied atop the Pacific Division in the AHL with Calgary. They had a big win on Saturday over Bakersfield. That was their third straight win. They are 8-4-1 on the season, and heading out on a 4-game road trip this week. Artur Silovs, one of the Canucks goalies, ended up getting a shutout, and Max Dason got a couple goals for Abbotsford. And both Canuck teams are playing well, top of the divisions, and it's nice that even the guys in the pipeline coming up are really seeming to be very talented players as well.
No, that's great. That's great for our future for the Canucks, knowing that we have talent still coming up and that we're developing the talent in the right way.
Yeah. And on the other side of the ledger in the NHL, the second worst team in the NHL, the Edmonton Oilers, ended up firing their coach, Jay Woodcroft, over the weekend. They were coming off a victory over Seattle, but I think his fate was sealed when they lost to the San Jose Sharks, the worst team in the NHL. And they just decided we better make the move. And it didn't matter that they won that last game. He got fired. They have a 3-9-1 record, second worst in the NHL. Only San Jose is worse. They're bringing in a guy, Chris Knobloch. He was the coach of the Hartford Wolfpack in the AHL. And Paul Coffey, longtime incredible defenseman, will be one of his assistants. Paul has never been a coach so far, but one of the greatest defensemen of all time. That's been one of their big problems, defense. So maybe he can come in and help them out. He replaces Dave Manson, who also got fired. So big changes in Edmonton early on in the season, only a dozen games in.
Yeah, well, hopefully those changes that they've made with the coaching can have an effect because I don't believe this team is supposed to be this bad. Are
No,
they?
no,
I
they
think
were.
they're supposed to
A
be
lot of
really
people
good.
predicted them to win the whole thing this year, to win the Stanley Cup. So, to be second worst overall at this moment, no, nobody expected this.
Okay, so yeah, so hopefully these changes help because obviously it sounds like the defense needs to be revamped completely
Yeah.
because what they were doing definitely was not working.
This guy's name is Chris Knobloch. And as soon as Knobloch, I heard it, I thought of Chuck Knobloch, a long time
Yep.
MLB baseball player. And he had a pretty decent career, and he was, considered one of the best second basemen in the world until he got the yips. And he actually kind of mentally forgot how to throw the ball to first base. So every time he would field the ball, he would try to throw it, and he would throw it into the dugout. He would throw it into the ground. He would lose it out of his hand, and he just lost his career. He couldn't throw to first base anymore and couldn't get those outs. So they couldn't keep him playing anymore, and he ended up losing his career. And I don't know if this Chris Knobloch is related. Hopefully there's not a way of getting Yips as a coach, but I remember Chuck Knobloch just couldn't figure it out mentally. He just lost it, and his career was done.
I kind of remember that, and it was the weirdest thing because it's like it was all mental,
Yeah.
but yeah. Like I don't think that's ever actually even happened again. It was only happened with him.
It happens. Has happened to a pitcher. A pitcher couldn't throw it over the home plate anymore. It was just sailing way up into the stands. It was in the dirt. He just couldn't throw the ball across the plate anymore. So that's pretty important as a pitcher. So he finished his career as a pitcher. He tried coming back as a outfielder, and he played a little bit in the majors after as an outfielder. Maybe about 4 or 5 years later, he came back, but his career was done with these yips. And it happens in the world of golf a lot. A lot of guys, they get up and there's a very crucial putt, and they start shaking too much, and they have lots of too much thoughts in their head, and they shank it. They hit it not to the spot where they want to hit it, and it's ruined a few guys' careers in golf for sure.
Oh man, that's too bad. Like I wonder if there's something that can be done to fix that, like to actually permanently fix that. I hope there is because it's a horrible way to lose your career when you've been doing this thing throughout your entirety of your life, and then you hit this point, and then you can't do this one thing anymore ever again.
Yeah, it's got to be just absolutely insane. Like, especially when you're one of the best in the world and you've made a huge amount of money, and been able to get a lot of fame. I'm drawing a blank. I'm sure my dad's watching this podcast later on today, and he'll be like, "Hey, it's this guy, this guy." There's a guy who figured it out somehow this year, and he had one of the best years of his career and one of the best years a golfer has ever had. And he had the yips for quite a few seasons, and somehow he got it figured out. I'm gonna probably come up with the name before the end of the podcast here, but maybe it could be Lucas Glover, could be his name. But yeah, he ended up I think he went to like a sports psychologist or something, and he changed his putter, and he was able to have a really super successful season this year. But his yips almost cost him his career, and he went from high up in the world to way down and was not making much money at all for a few years there.
Okay, well, it's encouraging to know that somebody beat it. You know what I mean? Because like it's just so devastating knowing that you work so hard to get to the pinnacle and then lose it because of something kind of ridiculous.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's Lucas Glover, and
right?
There's a comment here that says a Navy SEAL fixed his putting yips.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So, yeah, there's a story here. I see how a former Navy SEAL helped him overcome 10 years of the golfing putting yips. So, yeah, it's doable, I guess, but you have to get, a Navy SEAL in to get it done.
Yeah, yeah. You got to get one of the guys with the most indomitable wills on the planet to help you. Okay, cool. That's all you need.
Yeah, pretty wild. Yeah, unreal. I should have had this a little bit further when we were talking about football, but I want to mention your former alma mater, UBC Thunderbirds, won the Hardy Cup. It's been going for 86 years, the Hardy Cup. It's the championship for the university football organization here on this side of Canada, Western Canada. They won 28-27 over the Alberta Golden Bears. Last second touchdown toss into the end zone on the last play of the game, time expiring. Amazing catch in the end zone. They won 28-27 to win their 17th title and advance to the semifinals for the Vanier Cup. The Mitchell Bowl is played here at UBC against the St. Francis Xavier at 12 noon kickoff out at UBC Thunderbird Stadium. So great to see UBC win this. It's been a few years since they have, and a very prestigious trophy, 86th edition of the Hardy Cup, and they were able to win it on Saturday.
Yeah, and then they won it in spectacular fashion. That's probably the best way to win a cup with that much tradition and heritage and history. Where you do it on the last second play.
Yeah.
Nice work, UBC. Well done.
I used to broadcast their games on CITR, and it was always fun. Great atmosphere out there, especially when they were playing the Shrum Bowl with SFU, and it was the intercity rivalry. That was fantastic, and I just I hope they get a great crowd out there for this Mitchell Bowl, and then they can advance to the Vanier Cup in a couple of weeks. For the national championship. It'll be pretty incredible.
No, that would be great. It'll be fantastic, and hopefully they can win the Vanier Cup coming up.
Yeah. So the other semifinal that's taking place in the East is the Western Mustangs, undefeated 10-0. They play the Montreal Carabins, and they were 9-1 on the season. They play the first semifinal that starts at 9 o'clock our time Pacific, 12 o'clock Eastern. And then the Thunderbirds will welcome in the St. FX X-Men. X-Men were 10-0 on the season. The Thunderbirds were 8-2. And hopefully the home field advantage will be big for UBC, and they can advance to the Vanier Cup, which is super prestigious and really amazing.
Yes, it is. Absolutely. Has a lot of history, but they're going to be in tough against that team.
Sure. Yeah, it's going to be tough. One other thing about the Grey Cup, did you see what Joe Burrow was wearing as he was arriving for the Bengals game on Sunday? He was wearing his father's Montreal Alouettes Grey Cup jersey. His father won the Grey Cup for Montreal years ago, and as a tribute to his dad, he wore the Montreal jersey into the stadium. I thought it was pretty cool.
That's awesome. I had no idea that his old man played in the CFL. I did not know that at all.
Yeah, I don't think a lot of people did. Yeah, it hasn't been very widely publicized. So, yeah, very neat. I'm glad he paid tribute to his dad, and it was, very cool to see. Some really great news for Canada. We are the number one tennis nation in the world right now. The men won the Davis Cup, the most prestigious men's tournament for countries around the world last year, and they're still the defending champions. And now the women have won the Billie Jean King Cup. 61 years in existence. It is the most prestigious team tournament for the world of women's tennis. I've been able to attend a couple of their events here at the Pacific Coliseum, and they were able to go in this week and beat all the teams in Seville, Spain. They ended up beating Italy in the finals and won the championship. It was incredible in front of Billie Jean King, and so nice to see them sing the national anthem, wave the Canadian flags, and get the victory and become number one in the world.
Oh, that's fantastic. Like it's encouraging to see that our tennis program has just come up to this level now, where now that you're seeing all of these Canadians just have great success within these tournaments.
It's amazing. Yeah, I loved watching it live here. It was fantastic, and for them to go in and beat all the top nations in the world. Over the weekend, they beat Spain, Poland, Czechia, and Italy, and took home the $2.4 million top prize. Leila Annie Fernandez was 5-0 in the run up through the tournament, and she won the clinching match in straight sets. She was able to beat her name. She was able to beat Jasmine Paulini is her name. And then an 18-year-old girl that not a lot of people know about, Marina Stakuzic of Mississauga. She also won in straight sets, beating Martina Trevisan. And she was, I think, 250th ranked in the world, and she was able to beat a girl that was ranked 58th in the world. Huge upset, and played really great over the weekend. And Canada, number one tennis nation in the world right now. Big bragging rights, and incredible, all the effort, all the hard work, everything's paying off. And it's very prestigious and very nice to know that Canada's been able to rise so high up.
Yeah, no, it's fantastic. It's great. It's great that they've been able to rise that high and get this amount of success.
Hockey Hall of Fame makes their 2023 inductions today, 5:00 locally here on TSN. It will be broadcast later on this evening as well. 3 legendary goalies going in. King Henrik Lundqvist of the Rangers, Mike Vernon from the Calgary Flames and Detroit Red Wings, Tom Barrasso, played with multiple teams, most remembered for the Penguins, winning a couple cups there. Longtime Islander, Buffalo Sabre, Pierre Turgeon getting in. And then one of the greatest female hockey players of all time, Caroline Ouellette, will be inducted tonight. Ken Hitchcock, longtime coach, and Pierre Lacroix, longtime general manager, all getting inducted this evening into the Hockey Hall of Fame. Always love watching that. Incredible to see careers that were, just amazing accomplishments, and to get the Hall of Fame, there's no bigger honor for an athlete, and they all are really, really humbled. They have amazing speeches. All their friends and families are there, and all the and former inductees all arrive too, wearing their jackets, and their plaques are there. It's an amazing night.
Yeah, and then all very deserving, obviously, of getting into the Hall of Fame, because like that's the quintessential. That's it. That's you hitting your peak, knowing that you were one of the best who ever played in the game, and then now you're being celebrated for that.
Yeah, very cool. One last thing before we turn to the NFL. F1 is holding their Grand Prix in Vegas this weekend. First time in 41 years they've had any kind of Grand Prix in Vegas through F1. They will be racing partially on the Las Vegas Strip, which is cool. The actual circuit goes around almost all the most famous parts of Vegas. It's going to be incredible visually. They're going around the Sphere, and so U2, the band U2, has a residency there. They will be going on hiatus this week while they have the F1 there, and it's going to be cool to see this running right down the strip in Vegas and around all these amazing events. I think it's very big for F1 and cool that they're able to put this on there.
Oh yeah, no, I think that's very cool that they're able to do that, put it on, and it's going to be a huge event. It's going to garner like a lot of attention, and it's going to be great for the economy for Vegas for sure.
They say it's expected to be the most expensive F1 race of all time. They are expecting over 100,000 people a day to attend. And I don't know exactly why. I should have looked into this, but they're racing at night, late at night. Qualifying goes late Thursday, Friday starting at midnight. The actual main race is going Saturday at 10 p.m. at night. And they're expecting it to be cold temperatures, which is kind of tough for F1 because they like their tires to get heated up and absorbing to the track because, they're going so fast that, they could almost like go, off like an airplane, if they got a little bit of air underneath them. And so it'll be interesting. I think being so cold, I think it might cause some problems and we might see some pretty spectacular crashes.
No, hopefully nobody gets hurt potentially, but I wonder why they decided to make it at night.
Yeah.
Maybe it's because of like just the look, how the race will look, or maybe they have like some sort of idea of like what they want to do since it's going to be like a night race. Either way, it's going to be a lot of fun, and it's going to be people are going to be sincerely entertained. For the
race. I think it's probably at night just because it's it's so glitzy there. They got so much neon, they got so many signs, and so much going on at night. Vegas is a night city, and so I would, maybe that's the case. Maybe I don't know, like maybe the temperature's too hot in the day. They think, for the fans. I don't really know, but it's gonna be interesting to see. I'm sure Max Verstappen's still gonna win, and we're gonna see a lot of the same race results, but all the other particulars around the event. And I hear, most of the stars that we see at sporting events are going to be there this weekend. So there'll be a lot of, celebrity watching for sure.
Oh, yeah, for sure. There's going to be a ton of celebrities, and they're going to be all there cheering for their favorite drivers.
Yeah. Okay, we've hit we've almost finished week 10 in the NFL. And there was a historic weekend. For the first time in NFL history, 5 games were decided on the final play of regulation of the fourth quarter. As time expired, 5 different games were ended on a field goal, and never happened before in the history of the NFL. The Browns, the Seahawks, the Texans, Lions, and Cardinals all won with a kick as time expired. Pretty wild that there's that much parity. Pretty wild that they were able to, get the ball down just enough time left on the clock, have a timeout, bring out the field goal team and kick that field goal. And it went through for 5 games yesterday. Pretty historic.
Yeah, very historic, and especially historic that the Cardinals was one of those teams that were involved because they're not very good.
Well, Kyler Murray's back. First time in 11 months he played, and played actually pretty well. He was pretty mobile because their offensive line was letting a lot of the guys at him, and he had to make some pretty wild, spectacular plays to get himself out of trouble. And maybe the Cardinals will be a lot better now Kyler Murray's back.
Yeah, I would imagine so, because like he's for all the problems that he has, he's still a really good player, and he's still a really good quarterback. So yeah, they should be a lot better with him in the lineup as opposed to out.
That's true. Okay, we're going to start as always in the NFC East. We'll start with a divisional battle. Well, I can't call it a battle, but a divisional game between the Cowboys and the Giants. This season kicked off with the Cowboys beating the Giants 40-0 and really making you realize that the Giants were going to have a tough season. Cowboys were probably going to be pretty good this year. And this second game was not much different. Giants did score this time, but they allowed 49 points in a 49-17 victory by Dallas. Dallas is 6-3 now, second place in the division. Giants fall to 2-8. Dallas was a 17.5 point favorite, but it could have been 20. It could have been 30, I guess. The Giants really had a hard time yesterday, and Dallas was able to pad their stats. Like, all of their offensive players were like, oh man, this is going to be sweet. Dak Prescott, big game. CeeDee Lamb actually set a record. He had 11 catches for 151 yards yesterday. He has finished now with at least 10 catches and 150 yards in 3 straight weeks, making him the first NFL player to ever pull off that feat. And wow, this was just a slaughter and a pounding. And as I said, Dallas was able to get some great offensive numbers.
Yeah, and the funny thing is, like, CeeDee Lamb had 150 yards, right? But he wasn't the guy that caught the most or had the most yardage out of all the receivers. That was actually Brandon Cooks, who had 9 receptions for 173 yards and 1 touchdown. So, yeah, Giants are horrible. Everybody knows that. And it's unfortunate that Saquon has to go through this, because all they have to really do is, well, just key on your best guy, because that's the only guy that we have to worry about.
Yeah.
Everybody else, don't have to worry about. And Tommy DeVito, probably Danny DeVito's, like, I think, son. I don't know. Not very good. I think we figured that out. He passed for 86 yards. He did have 2 touchdowns, though. Great. And it meant nothing because they were being slaughtered by that point.
Yeah. I know, 86 yards out of 14 completions, 86 yards, 27 passes, and they got 86 yards. Like I said, I'm not going to watch this game. There's no point. I don't like seeing blowouts this bad. So I thought, no, forget it. I'll see the highlights. There's a lot more games that need my attention more than this game. And, that must have been just dink and dunk. Like, how do you have 27 passes and you get 86 yards? Like, that's unbelievable.
Yeah, I know. Well, he played it safe. I'm not going to pass it anywhere close to like 20 yards down the field. My range is within 5 to 10 yards from the line of scrimmage. We're just going to keep it safe. So safe that we have no chance of winning this game, and we are going to get destroyed.
Yeah. And he even got picked off once, so crazy. Yeah. Prescott had over 400 yards. As he said, Cooks and CD were amazing. Even Gallup had 70 yards and a touchdown. Ferguson had a touchdown. They were just 640 total yards, just an absolute massive blowout. Twice as many first downs. Giants only had 172 yards fully. They were 0 for 12 on third down. 0 for 12. Like, that's going to kill drive after drive after drive. 3 and out. See ya. 3 and out. See ya. 3 and out. Oh, man, Dallas just loves games like that, I'm sure. And we saw another Cooper Rush game where he was able to come in. Prescott got to take the fourth quarter off, and I saw him laughing with McCarthy. They haven't had too many moments this year where they can have fun and laugh, but they seem to enjoy themselves a ton on Sunday.
Well, obviously, I think any team would enjoy themselves a ton when they play the Giants. We're just like, oh, easy money. This is going to be great.
Cowboys don't have a tough test. They go against the worst team in the NFL next week. Carolina Panthers are up next, early window Sunday. Giants also have a divisional battle coming up against the Washington Commanders. Let's talk about the Commanders. They fell to 4-6 on the season with the 29-26 loss to the Seahawks. Seahawks improved to 6-3. This was a typical rainy Northwest day. It really just lent to a lot of running the football and grinding out drives. Low scoring game for that first half, and really not a ton going on. Not a fun football to watch, but Seahawks were able to get going in that second half. Geno Smith was able to finally start finding his targets, and he ended up with a career high 369 yards passing, couple touchdowns. DK Metcalf had basically 100 yards, and Kenneth Walker really ended up getting a ton of yards. And they really played well. The defense was great. They sacked Sam Howell 3 times, recovered a fumble, was able to really shut him down when they needed to. And a good win for the Seahawks that needed it after getting blown out by the Ravens last week.
Oh yeah. They came back and they played well. I felt bad for the Commanders because Howell played well. He 29 to 44, 312 yards, 3 touchdowns. His guy Robinson Jr. in the backfield had 8 carries for 38 yards, but then another 6 receptions for 119 yards and 1 touchdown.
Yeah.
So these guys played really well, but the Seahawks managed to put together that last drive. And I'm going to be honest, when Metcalf caught that pass over the middle and was fighting for more yards, I'm like, but is he not going to go down?
Get down.
Get down. I'm like, you're going to run out of time. But they're very well coached. They managed to spike the ball with just enough time to kick the field goal and win the game.
Yeah, luckily they were able to get that. And this is one of the games that ended with that field goal as time expired, and huge win. It's funny that 2 B Robinsons are so dynamic and electric. I always have a hard time thinking, is it Bijan or Brian? Which one was? Because they only just put B Robinson, in the stats and stuff. But for Robinson to have 119 yards receiving, that's amazing. And probably better than a Bijan game so far. And very, very impressive. 51-yard TD catch and run was absolutely amazing. And Washington has the horses on offense. When they're going, Gibson's great. They've got a lot of, and Logan Thomas is a good tight end, and they've got Terry McLaurin. They've got a lot there. They just got to improve their defense, and they should win a ton of games. So, but really great to see the Seahawks turn it around after last week's debacle. And Jason Myers was that hero, 43-yard field goal to finish it off. Seahawks have a divisional opponent coming up this week. They go to the LA Rams, and then their schedule gets brutal. They have some tough games. They got to win this game against the Rams. I think it looks like 4 losses in a row if it goes according to how it looks. But very tough schedule ahead for the Seahawks. They better win next week against the Rams. And as I mentioned earlier, the Commanders host the Giants for their divisional battle. Seahawks, obviously, NFC West. The 49ers are there too. 49ers were able to finally break that 3-game losing streak and get back on the horse. Get a huge resounding win over the Jags. A lot of people thought this was going to be a great game. Both teams coming in pretty even records. Jags playing really well. This was also a blowout like that Cowboys game. 34-3. This one ended up. Everything worked out perfect except Christian McCaffrey had his 17-game touchdown game streak, and they tried so badly to get it to him at the end, even on 4th down, up by 31 points. They were still trying to get him in the end zone, and they didn't. But I think he was still happy to see the victory, and he'll have to go in history tying that record, not holding it on his own.
Yeah, I think he's more satisfied with the victory than the record. So, and Purdy had a great game. He looked like he was back to his old self. I think partially that was because of the fact that Deebo Samuel was back as well in the lineup.
Yeah.
So he had his Avengers for offense back with him on the field of play, and he looked really good. 19 to 26, 296 yards and 3 touchdowns. And Kittle was amazing. 3 receptions, 116 yards, 1 touchdown. Yeah, the 49ers look like they fixed the things that were wrong, and they're kind of back.
Yeah. Yeah. Seeing Ayuk get a touchdown, Kittle did a touchdown, Usek, Debo, wow, all those weapons they have. And for McCaffrey not even to be, on the touchdown scoreboard, it was pretty crazy. I ran into a friend the other day, actually at the Kiss concert, and I said to him, "Hey, what's wrong with your Niners? What's going on?" And he said, "We're missing Debo and we're missing Trent Williams." And Trent Williams protects Purdy, gives him that time and space and blocking. And Debo's the guy that's that dual threat. He can, get you running, passing, and he's somebody that they're able to put on a lot of coverage over the other guys now. And there was a touchdown yesterday from Debo when Trent Williams was blocking for him to get him into that space and get him out there. And I immediately texted my friend and said, "You called it." He said it. It's exactly happened. And this guy knows his Niners and knows what was ailing him. And it's amazing that one lineman and one receiver that they utilize as a dual threat guy can make that much difference and snap a losing streak when they come back.
Oh yeah, because they're just that important to the offense. They make that much of a difference, even though they have all these other weapons. But those 2 guys make that much of a difference for that offense. So that's why they're needed. That's why they wanted it.
Yeah. The defense played fantastic as well. That defense is unbelievable. And when I texted you the trade deadline day and started telling you of all the deals that went on, you were working, not able to follow it like I was. The one that you mentioned the most was Chase Young, and said, "Oh my God, I can't believe that the Niners even got that much better with Chase." And I watched quite a bit of this game and saw how much Bosa and Chase were on both sides of the ball, and they were just constantly coming in on Lawrence and giving him fits beyond belief. And those guys are former teammates at Ohio State University, and they've been reunited, and they were just loving life, sitting on the bench, just high-fiving each other, talking about, "This is reminding me of the good old days." And to add that kind of a formidable talent on your defensive line, it's unbelievable how the Niners keep doing stuff like this.
Yeah, it is, because they already had quite a formidable defense, and then also too, I think they added that interior lineman Hargreaves as well from Philly. Okay, so now your front 7 is ridiculous. Like it's utterly out of control, ridiculous. If I'm the rest of the NFL looking at the 49ers, looking at that defense going, "Oh man, that is problematic. That is super problematic now."
Yeah.
Adding Chase Young to all of those guys, yeah, I would be high-fiving too as well. It's like, we're just going to be eating well for the rest of the year, boys. This is going to be great.
It's amazing, yeah. These are some of the stats for their defensive line. Hargrave had 4 tackles, 1.5 sacks, and 3 quarterback hits. Bosa had 1.5 sacks, a forced fumble, and recovered the fumble. Armstead had 3 tackles, half a sack, and Chase Young had half a sack and a couple quarterback hits too. So no matter what, anytime Trevor grabbed the ball and looked up, one of those or 2 or even 3 of those guys were in his face, and he just struggled. This was a tough day for Trevor Lawrence, who was really on a great streak. I think they had won 4 in a row and really looking well. But no touchdowns, only 184 yards passing and a couple picks, and sacked a lot. This was a tough day for the Jags, and they just really couldn't get going at all.
No, they couldn't get going at all because the 49ers defense wouldn't allow them to get going. And I'm just going to say this right now. That defense is not going to allow a lot of teams to get going from this point onwards.
That's true, yeah. Unreal, man. Yeah, it's amazing. Okay, so the Jags host the Titans on Sunday. The 49ers host the Tampa Bay Bucs in Baker. We trust. We'll see how that turns out for Baker. And we'll stay with the NFC West. Cardinals, they ended up improving to 2-8. You mentioned them off the top. They beat your Falcons, unfortunately, 25-23. Falcons fall to 4-6. This was another game where the time ended, field goal went through. Matt Prater hit his fourth field goal of the game. This one was a little chip shot, 23 yards. Kyler Murray back after 11 months, so 335 days since he last played. 250 yards passing, 33 yards on the ground with a touchdown run. And this was a welcome sight for them. Even though they gave up on Dobbs and we were kind of like, what the hell are you guys doing? I guess they realized that Kyler was finally able to be 100% healthy and come back and ended up being one of the biggest catalysts why they won.
Yeah, he looked really good. He looked really good. They won the game. At this point in time, though, I'm kind of questioning, like, does the Cardinals actually still want to win games? I didn't think they wanted to do that. But either way, great win on their part. I felt bad for my Falcons because Bijan Robinson had himself a great game, 22 carries, 95 yards and a touchdown. But Kyler's favorite receiver in this particular game was Mr. McBride. 8 receptions for 131 yards, and he was pivotal in this Cardinals win.
I'm glad you mentioned him. This is an amazing stat that I have here. This blew my mind. For the first time in more than 3 decades, a Cardinals tight end hit the 100-yard mark.
You say 30 years?
More than 30 years since one of their tight ends had 100 yards receiving. 131 on 8 passes. It's the first time since a guy named Robert A. Walt did it against the Cowboys in 1989.
Oh my God, that's ridiculous. Haven't they had good tight ends?
They've had a few, I think, but even if you're not totally great, you wouldn't think you'd have a guy getting 100 yards. It happened on November 12th, 1989, exactly 34 years to the day.
Wow, that's kind of ridiculous, but okay, cool.
I was shocked when I saw it. Just mind blowing. Like, I think you would have saw that once or twice over the 34 years and said, okay, maybe we got to get a tight end that can really get the ball and be crucial on getting us some yardage.
Yeah, but instead they just said, you know what, tight ends not that important. I think we're going to be good without them.
I think it's just hilarious when I see that, man. Unreal. Tyler Heineke in this game ended up getting hurt. Sounds like it's kind of serious. Desmond Ritter came in and was able to play pretty well, but we'll see if they have. It looks like they'll have to turn back to Ritter for the meantime. Atlanta has a bye this week. They play the Saints next after the bye, and the Cards go to the Houston Texans, which are suddenly a great team that are very, very tough right now. So it'll be a tough game for them. Okay, returning to the NFC North here, starting with the Lions, who lead the division at 7-2. They beat my Chargers 41-38. Chargers fall to 4-5. This was probably the best game of the day, I think, in a lot of ways. Other than if you're a defensive football person, there wasn't a ton of D there. It was just whoever had the ball last was going to win this game, and that's what ended up happening. The shootout ended with Riley Patterson hitting a 41-yard field goal as time expired, giving the Lions a victory. Jesus Christ, like how much pain do I have to endure as a Chargers fan? We've got such a formidable, amazing quarterback, incredible receiver. We got Austin Eckler, one of the best running backs in the world, and we have to suffer with tough defense that just constantly gives up massive points and yardage. And another game where I'm left shaking my head, heartbroken, and with another loss, and we fall to 4-5 in a tough conference. This is going to be tough if we don't get this figured out. It's going to be another tough year.
Might be another tough year, but here's a positive that could come out of this. Brandon Staley could possibly not be your head coach anymore.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that would be nice. I would be welcoming that.
Yeah. So that's at least a positive, because if you look at Herbert's numbers, 27 of 40, 323 yards and 4 touchdowns. Yeah, I can't find fault with that guy.
No.
So don't know what he did wrong. And then I look at some of the other guys like Allen, 11 receptions, 175 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Yeah.
Can't find fault with him either. Looks like he did what he was supposed to do. Like,
Yeah.
like man, it sucks. But clearly the problem is on defense. They got to find stop. They have to have stops, right? And they weren't able to stop the lines.
Yeah, Herbert, amazing again as always, and Keenan with those 11 catches, couple touchdowns. That's his 10th career game with 2+ touchdowns, 2 or more touchdowns. He has now 15 games with at least 11 receptions, most by any player in NFL history. He's guaranteed when you get him the ball. Austin Eckler had another great game with 115 yards total. And Quentin Johnson got his first career TD, great draft pick that they brought in to bolster that offense. But their defense just let them down again. And this is the Chargers' 100th game over the past 10 seasons of a one-score game. And, for the most part, they're losing most of these one-score games. And it's just a lack of defense that's able to stop people when they need to. Goff had a great game with 330 yards and a couple touchdowns. And Jahmyr Gibbs was great. Their running game is fantastic. David Montgomery, they took the ball at the 25-yard line, handed it to Montgomery, gone for a touchdown. Like, what the heck? Like, they're going to run the ball this first play. So good run defense, right? No, open up a hole and let him run the whole entire field, score a touchdown. It was just very, very frustrating to watch. And maybe my allegiances have to go somewhere else one day soon, because my heart just can't take loss after loss after loss when I see such an amazing offense. And it's just been that way for the Chargers' history. I just don't know why they're kind of cursed with a constantly lacking defense when they have such great offense year after year.
Yeah, well, it seems to me that the scouting, for whatever reason, they can pick great offensive players but not great defensive players, because they really need to buckle down and focus on the defense for the next couple of years, because clearly their offense is fine.
Yeah,
they got no problem on offense. It's their defense that needs work.
Okay, the Lions host the Bears on Sunday, an NFC North divisional battle. The Chargers go to the Green Bay Packers. That's an early window game on Sunday. Sticking in the NFC North, we're going to talk about the Vikings now. They are on I think it's a 5-game winning streak. 27-19 victory over the Saints. Even without Justin Jefferson, who's out and not playing, Josh Dobbs comes in and finally gets to know his team, gets to know the playbook, and gets an opportunity to come in and have a great game. 260 yards passing with a touchdown. He also ran the ball 8 times, 44 yards, and had a 7-yard TD run himself. And they are so happy they were able to bring him in and fill the void after Kirk Cousins went down. This team's not missed a beat.
Yeah, which is amazing in and of itself that they haven't missed a beat with Dobbs coming in. And the Vikings are looking pretty good. They're looking really good. Hawkinson had a great game with 11 receptions for 134 yards and a touchdown. The Vikings are lucky that they managed to get Dobbs.
Yeah,
very lucky to have gotten him.
Yeah, what a pickup. He's been incredible for them. As I said, their defense was great. They got a couple picks, 3 sacks. They hold the Saints to 4 of 14 on third down. So really good. Saints were dealt a huge blow with Derek Carr going out early with a concussion and a shoulder injury. I was talking with my dad yesterday, and he had saw on the ticker that they listed Derek Carr as out for the season. And I said, wow, okay. And initially they had just reported the concussion. And I thought, wow, that's weird. That's not something that they ever do immediately with a concussion. And then the report came a little later and it had shoulder beside head. And I thought, okay. And I saw the hit, and the hit was brutal. It was really brutal. It looked like he was, it looked like both his shoulders could have been broken on the hit. It was pretty bad. And I don't think that they actually still have him as out for the year now, but it was a pretty brutal thing. And I suspect he'll probably miss a week or two off of these injuries.
I don't think I necessarily saw the hit, or at least I can't remember. But was it one of those hits where he was driven into the turf?
Yeah.
Yeah. Those are always the worst ones.
Yeah. Yeah, it was tough. Yeah, Jameis Winston came in and looked pretty good, and then he threw a couple picks. And, he's just famous for that. His last year in Tampa Bay, they said, see you later. He threw 30 touchdowns that year, but he threw 30 picks. So they were like, I think we're going to get Tom Brady. So see you later, Jameis. And those picks yesterday were just killers of two crucial drives. And that was, that was all she wrote. Unfortunately, he's just not careful with the ball enough.
No, he's not. And he's always had a history of not being careful with the ball enough. So it's not a surprise that, he looked good in the beginning, but then with those picks, really when you didn't need, when you couldn't throw picks, that's when, lost the game.
Yeah, well, they were down 27-3 in this game, and they, made a comeback, and it looked like, wow, this team might be able to pull this off. But those late picks were a killer, and they've got a lot of talent on this team, but this is tough. Luckily, actually, for the Saints, they have a bye this week, so that might allow Derek Carr to get healthier and everybody else better. They play the Falcons next after their bye week, and the Vikings go to the Broncos, and that's the Sunday night game this coming weekend. So we'll look forward to that. NFC North, we're sticking with, and this is the Packers-Steelers game. The Steelers were outgained for the 9th straight game this season and are 6-3 on the year. So their defense is playing phenomenal, and their offense just does just enough to pull out these wins. It was a 23-19 victory over Green Bay, who fell to 3-6. And Jordan Love was picked off at the start of the end zone on the last play of the game to give the Steelers their victory. They used an incredible rushing attack, 205 yards rushing, and the Steelers were able to get the big win. And 6-3, very amazing start for a team that's really not doing anything on offense, but that defense is so formidable.
Just finding ways to win. That's what they're doing, finding ways to win. And Coach Tomlin needs a lot of credit, man, because it's like, are you doing this again, buddy? Oh, okay, all right, smoke and mirrors. No, they're finding ways to win, and Pickett is depending on one of his favorite receivers, which is in Pickens. Not a bad game, 3 receptions, 45 yards, but it was the running attack that really did all the damage, with Warren with 15 carries for 101 yards and a touchdown, and then Harris with 16 carries for 82 yards and a touchdown. And then that's really where they did their damage on offense.
I'm glad that the Fire Canada chant is finally over. Well, not over necessarily, but it's been muted for the last couple weeks. Matt Canada came out of the box and has been down on the field the last couple games. And I think it's actually a very, very crucial move that Tomlin said, hey, get your ass out of the box, get down on the field, be amongst the players, and let's work this out. And suddenly, as a Canadian, it's never nice to hear Fire Canada being chanted at Steelers games. It was happening at Penguins games. It was just starting to become a thing that I was not very happy to keep hearing. And after, a couple of victories, I didn't hear it yesterday, finally.
Oh, so that's all he needs to do is win. So it's funny how that works, right?
Yeah, that's it. Chris Boswell ended up getting the win with the field goal at the end. And yeah, that was one of those 5 games that they were able to finish with a field goal. And TJ Watt, he passed his brother with his 88th sack in his 96th game. JJ had 87 and a half in 100 games. And Reggie White is the leader all time with 105 sacks in his first 100 games. So the funny thing was, at halftime, they went into the studio and they said, "Hey, JJ, you're no longer second on this records list. Your brother beat you." And he said, "It couldn't be more proud. Couldn't be happier. I know how much work he's put in. I've been there every day in the off season while we worked out and got him more ready." And he said, him and I grew up idolizing Reggie White, and we wanted to be like him. And for us to be 2 and 3 on the list, and for him to just pass me, I couldn't be more happy. And we are thrilled to be included with anything about Reggie White. So it was cool to see.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome that like he has the complete and utter support of his family like that, and his brother, who's he's just like, oh no, man, it's a good thing. It's a good thing, and it's a great thing for their family to know that it's like, oh no, we're only behind one guy, Reggie White.
Yeah,
we're good with that.
Yeah. They had a couple of picks. The 2 safeties both had interceptions in this game. And as you mentioned, Jalen Warren, Najee Harris, fantastic. The Jordan Love experiment at 3-6, not going very well halfway through the year. A couple picks. Just seems like this will be a rebuilding year. And, I think they expected a lot more as he sat behind Aaron Rodgers this many years. I think they thought that maybe the record would be flipped 3-6, 6-3. They're just not that great this season.
No, they're not. But sometimes with Love, you see glimpses, though. You see glimpses like that the one pass that he dropped in there behind the 2 defenders. I don't think, was that to Dobbs or was that to Reed? I can't remember which one it was.
I think that was to Reed there.
Yeah, I think it was to Reed. So and so you see him throw passes like that, and you're like, he does have something.
Yeah,
it's just the mistakes that he needs to like clean up. That's it.
Yeah, that was that 35-yarder to Reed right over the 2 defenders, and it was nice touch, that's for sure. Their running game was okay. I don't know what's wrong with Aaron Jones this year. He just doesn't seem the same as he was. I don't know if age has caught up to him. AJ Dillon has been suddenly the premier guy, and Aaron Jones was just such a prolific guy on being able to catch that ball and run out in space and get yardage on the ground. But he's not the same this year, so that's harming them. The Patriots host the Chargers on Sunday. Not Patriots, Packers host the Chargers on Sunday. Hopefully they can fall to 3-7 and the Chargers can get back to 500. Steelers go to the Browns on Sunday, which is always a great battle between the Steelers and Browns. Sticking with the NFC North, we'll talk about the Panthers at the bottom. That's the Thursday night game, and usually Thursday night game, it's so long ago we really won't talk about it. Also, it was one of the worst football games I've ever had to watch. It was just brutal. I don't know why they put this in a primetime game. I think they thought maybe Justin Fields against Bryce Young, these 2 up-and-coming quarterbacks, they had made that big trade with each other in the offseason, but these are the 2 worst teams in football last year, and you're going to think that they've turned it around enough to have them in a primetime game? Big mistake. This is probably the worst watched football game, like maybe about a couple 100,000 maybe were watching it on Thursday, because it was terrible, brutal, such a bad game. It was unwatchable.
Yeah, it was super nice. I was just like, man, I am psyched for Bears Panthers. I can't wait. I can't wait to turn it off and watch an NBA basketball game. So that's exactly what I did.
Yeah.
And because as far as I'm concerned with this team, the best thing about these two teams playing is Bajan's father, because that guy's awesome.
Yeah. I love that. I love that video you sent me. Hey, wasn't that amazing?
Yeah,
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, he asked the reporter to come over and show him how he does his technique on the arm wrestling and just
Yeah.
boom, yeah, took the guy down. That was phenomenal. And they do show Bajan's dad quite a bit in the stands watching his son, don't they?
No, yes, they do. They do. And I understand why, because just from that brief interaction when he was doing the arm wrestling thing, he's super charismatic.
Yeah.
And he's hilarious.
He's
So
funny,
yeah,
yeah.
that they should have him more on there to distract from the Bears' horrible team.
Yeah.
That's what we can do.
Yeah. Yeah, the Bears got some, they got Deontay Foreman, who's great. DJ Moore is good. Cole Kmet, I like. But yeah, there was only one touchdown scored in this game. It was on a 79-yard punt return. All the rest were field goals. Bryce Young had a terrible game, and unfortunately, Canadian Chuba Hubbard didn't do too much. And yeah, this was just brutal. So Chicago goes to the Detroit Lions next Sunday, tough game, and Carolina hosts Dallas, as I mentioned earlier. 1-8 on the year. It looks like a 1-9, and maybe a 1-win season throughout. They are terrible. Okay, NFC South here. We got the Tampa Bay Bucs beating up on the Tennessee Titans 20-6. Bucs improved to 4-5. Titans fall to 3-6. In Baker, we trust. He engineered the only 2 touchdowns of the day. Had a pretty decent game. Rashad White had a great game, and he's got Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. Wow, this team is great. Good defense, and they just shut down Derrick Henry. Only 2.2 average, 11 carries, 24 yards, and 1 catch for -4 yards. So Derrick Henry did not factor into this game whatsoever. Will Levis, just not a great game. When you're throwing the ball 39 times, you better have more than 20 completions, and he didn't. So yeah, rough day. And Titans are also really regressing quite a bit this season.
Yeah, yes, they are. It's unfortunate. The star for the Bucs was White for sure. 20 carries, 51 yards, and 2 receptions, 47 yards, and a touchdown. And Mayfield just did just enough. 18-29, 278 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick, but that 1 pick didn't hurt them whatsoever.
Yeah. The Bucs defense only allowed a couple hundred yards, 42 on the ground with Derrick Henry is amazing. 4 sacks, 1 pick. Mr. Irrelevant Derrick Henry, that doesn't happen very often. Titans go to the Jags Sunday, and the Bucs go to the Niners. That's the later one, to the 1:05 kickoff Pacific time. Okay. We're turning to the AFC now, and we'll start with the AFC East. We'll talk about the Buffalo Bills and the Denver Broncos. That's the Monday nighter coming up tonight in a few hours. Bills are a 7-point favorite going into this one. I'm surprised that it's only 7 points, but at 5-4, maybe they're thinking Josh Allen will throw 3 or 4 picks, and maybe Denver's got a shot. The Bills are 4-0 at home this year, and the Broncos are 1-2 on the road. Denver's lost 7 consecutive Monday Night Football games, and Russell Wilson is averaging only 12 points a game in 5 primetime starts with Denver. So yeah, I'm picking Denver.
Oh, you're going with Denver. That's amazing.
No, I don't think so. But yeah, just I'll list off all the reasons why Buffalo should win this game, and then the way it goes, Denver's probably going to win.
Ah, man, I wish I could feel that the same thing that you feel for Broncos, but no, I'm going to go with the Bills.
Yeah,
I'm going to go with the Bills because I feel that they're the better team, and they should crush the Broncos. They should crush them.
The only reason why I think Buffalo struggles is the winning the turnover battle. Josh Allen is just turnover prone. I think it was 2 weeks ago, or maybe even last week. It was 91 turnovers in the past, what was it, 5 seasons? Something brutal. The
Yeah.
Bills have not won the turnover battle since week 4 of this season. So, that's just tough. It's tough to overcome. I look at this as the Von Miller revenge game against Denver. I think he's going to sack Wilson maybe 3 times, 2 or 3 times. This is the first time he's playing Denver since his trade in 2021. All 8 of his Pro Bowls came as a member of the Broncos. He had 110 and a half sacks in 10 seasons there. And he was the Super Bowl MVP of Super Bowl 50 as the Bronco. And he was pissed when they traded him. He was really, really, really pissed. And they have stunk since. So I expect Russell Wilson better keep his eye on Vaughn and try to avoid that side of the field.
Yeah, you should keep his head on a swivel. But I know that he was pissed, Von Miller, but let's be honest. It was probably a blessing in disguise that he got out of there when he did.
Yeah, true. Yeah, it probably is. Denver's coming off a 2 weeks rest, so they have had a lot of time to prepare for this opponent. And weirdly enough, Bills have pissed off gamblers this year. They're 0-5 against the spread, 5 straight weeks. And this is their longest active streak that have hurt the gamblers since 76-77. They had 6 weeks in a row back then. So I bet you it's going to be like 24-20, and they're going to do that. It's going to be 6 weeks in a row, and the gamblers are going to hate the Bills, and no money's going to be gambled on them. But I plan to watch it, but it's on paper this looks like a slaughter for the Bills, but we'll see. With 2 weeks rest, maybe the Broncos can keep this close and maybe pull this off.
Maybe. A lot of maybes. Maybes. A lot of possibilities. I don't see it, but yes.
Yeah. Broncos' next opponent is the Vikings. Sunday nighter, as I mentioned a little earlier. And the Bills host the New York Jets. That's the late window on Sunday. Okay. Sticking with the AFC East, we'll talk about the Jets. They play great defense week after week after week after week. And then they have Zach Wilson. And they don't score enough. They have went 36 straight possessions without scoring an offensive touchdown. And that is brutal. That is brutal, brutal, brutal. Aaron Rodgers has announced that he plans to come back middle of December. He will be fit and ready to play. And I looked ahead at their schedule to see who they will be playing around then. The Jets play the Dolphins on December the 17th. The Jets host the Commanders on Christmas Eve, December 24th. And then after that, they've got some really tough opponents. And we'll see. But he said he's targeting mid-December, which would be the Jets-Dolphins game on December the 17th.
Okay, wait. So didn't he have a complete rupture of his Achilles tendon?
Yeah.
And so he's
I think that was 9 weeks ago now he had surgery. So
9 weeks
that
ago.
would be, so that would be, I guess, 13, 14 weeks or something like that. He thinks he's going to be ready.
14 weeks, so that's pretty much almost 4 months. Right?
Yeah.
How did he do that? Like what? I've had the Achilles rupture. I know what that's all about.
Yeah.
I don't understand how he at 38 goes, yeah, I got like healing powers like Wolverine. I should be fine. Like that. That doesn't even make any sense to me, but that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Like that just tells me that the medical staff and then the way that they can get these guys back on the field is absolutely incredible nowadays. Like, because I would have thought to myself, there's no way he comes back this season.
No.
Let alone Christmas.
No. Everybody said that's it. Season ending, maybe career ending. He's done. discount him. He's history. 4 plays in, boom, he's out. And it's miraculous the healing powers he's had. He's dedicated every day to rehabilitation of it, and they said the surgery was incredible. And he's doing everything and anything he possibly can to get back on the field this year. And for him to have actually said, I've targeted mid-December, it's shocking. It's mind-blowing.
Yeah, it's absolutely shocking. Like, because I think I told you before, I thought the guy that came back the fastest from that kind of injury that I've ever heard of was Terrell Suggs.
Right.
And I have a feeling Rodgers might be doing it even quicker than him.
Yeah.
So, okay, cool.
Yeah. It's amazing. Yeah. They need it. Zach Wilson is just not the answer. I think it's time to find an option. They were, Vikings were able to go get Dobbs. There got to be another guy out there that can contribute better. Zach Wilson's just not the guy. He just can't do it. He's just not the guy. And, if the Jets are, let's say 4 or 5 more games, if they're like 4-9, 4-10, what's the point of Rodgers coming back? What is the point? So they need to win a few of these games so that they're in the hunt at least when he comes back. Because why would Rodgers risk anything further if they're far and away out of the playoff race?
Yeah, because that doesn't make any sense. Like it's unfair for the Jets to always expect their defense to try to hold up enough for them to win the games, and they're doing exactly that. It's like the Jets defense, like, well, we tried to get us to win, and the Raiders only scored 16 points, but we couldn't score a touchdown. So then that's why we lost.
Yeah, it was. This was another game that was tough to watch. They only had 1 touchdown in the entire game. Michael Mayer, I was like, Michael Myers, Halloween's not back. Michael Mayer got one from Aiden O'Connell. I don't think anybody would have ever picked those 2 guys scoring the only touchdown in a game earlier this season. But Devontae Adams was played pretty good, and Robert Spillane had that late pick of Wilson. They were trying to get that last drive and get the game, but I think the Zach Wilson experiment has to end for this team to, welcome Aaron Rodgers back and, have a chance at the playoffs. We'll see. We're looking at just over a month away from that Jets-Dolphins game that is mid-December. And, there's, some games coming after that. Maybe he waits till Christmas Eve against the Commanders, but we'll see how it pans out. As mentioned, the Jets go to Buffalo this coming Sunday, 1:25 Pacific kickoff, and the Raiders go to the Dolphins. We'll have a tough test there. Sticking in the AFC East, another brutal game. I get up early, try to watch the German games, try to watch the London games. This one was 10-6. Jesus, like, Bill Belichick, I think, has lost it completely. I think he's done. I think this is it for them. 2-8, and just looking like they don't have a clue what to do, how to win. I think they've given up on Mac Jones. I think they've realized that he's a guy like Zach Wilson with a lot of promise coming in and just can't deliver. I saw Robert Kraft shaking his head. I saw the hoodie holding his head like he had a massive headache. And they tried to bring in Bailey Zappi. The last drive, Zappi throws a pick, and they were done. The mighty have fallen. This Patriots team, they had a ton of Patriots fans in Germany, and I feel sorry for all the people that flew there for that. All the Germans that had to witness that. That was a boring game. And it definitely shouldn't have been a game to showcase NFL football for the German fans.
Well, unless you like defense, then it's just like, oh, what a defensive struggle. My goodness. Oh, so good to see, like, no points being scored. So, yeah, it sucked. Minshew did Minshew things, 18 of 28, 194 yards. one interception. Funny enough that he only had 24 yards better than his counterpart Jones, 15 of 20, 170 yards on one interception. But the Patriots they're not good. They're just not good. And then, and also too, I wanted to point out this. Good thing you paid Taylor because he's the only guy that kind of showed up and got you a touchdown to win this game.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Yeah.
So money well spent. Money well spent.
I've detected a change in your audio just partway through that.
Hold on. Better?
Better. Yeah. Something changes there. So, but yeah, brutal game, and I see major changes happening with New England. I'd be surprised. Definitely if Belichick has both hats, I wouldn't be shocked. I know he signed an extension in this offseason. I think it was another 2-year deal or something, but I think it's time to move on and get somebody else in there. This team has really just fallen off the rails. Both teams get a bye, and because of that long travel, you get an opportunity to say if you want to buy after that week. Both teams have decided they will both be off this coming week. Bucs next for the Colts, and the Patriots play the Giants next, who also are super struggling. So not much left games to cover, but let's talk about the AFC West. Chiefs had a bye. They're sitting at 7-2, leading the division. Raiders jumped into second place in the division at 5-5. Chargers fall to third with 4-5, and the Broncos at 3-5. They could win tonight and tie the Chargers at 4-5, or fall to 3-6. We'll see. We just have to talk about the AFC North. This was in one of the other games of the weekend. Cleveland Browns and Baltimore Ravens. Ended up Cleveland came back down 31-17 with 9 minutes left, scored 2 touchdowns, and got a D-Hop 40-yard game-winning field goal as time expired. Dustin Hopkins got his 4th field goal of the game for Cleveland to pull out the 33-31 victory over Baltimore, improving to 6-3, dropping Baltimore down to 7-3. But this was a hell of a great game, back and forth, and huge victory for the Browns.
Huge victory, but a bigger loss for the Ravens that they should have won this game. And they really should have won this game. But I credit where credit's due. Ford came up big in the run game, 17 carries for 107 yards for the Browns.
Yeah.
And but I still look at it that the Ravens should have won this game. This is a game that they should not have given up, for sure.
The Ravens have blown leads. Listen to this. Since the start of the 2021 season, they've lost 9 games when leading by 7 or more points in the fourth quarter, the most by any team in that 3-year span in the NFL history. The Browns, before Sunday, had been 0-59-1 against AFC North teams when trailing by 14 points or more at any point in the game. Before that drought is over now, they trailed for 59 minutes and 20 seconds, making them the first team since 1999 to trail for at least that long, but still won the game. So, holy crap, you're right. You are so right. Baltimore blew this. They should have won this game, and it's going to hurt. It's going to sting this week. They have a short week, though. They host Cincinnati for the Thursday nighter, so not a long time to dwell on this loss, but they should be 8-2, and they really, really dropped the ball.
Yeah, they should be 8-2. They really dropped the ball, and now they got to play a very, very good Bengals team with a healthy Joe Burrow.
Yeah,
not looking good for the Ravens actually going into Thursday.
Lamar Jackson had a great game, but he did throw 2 picks. Odell Beckham got the first touchdown pass as a Raven from Odell, 40-yard TD grab. Keaton Mitchell just suddenly emerged like last week, and he had another good game, had a 39-yard touchdown run. And yeah, this team has it all, but Deshaun Watson looked pretty good. He's pretty banged up though, and this ankle injury that he had to miss a play or two, and he was pretty hobbled a lot of the game. We'll have to keep our eye on it, and I expect him to be rested, might not practice this entire week. Myles Garrett was huge again. He had 1.5 sacks and tons of pressures. And Greg Newsome, 34-yard pick for him, pick 6. And Mike Ford had the other pick of Lamar. Cleveland hosts Pittsburgh Sunday in the early game. We just have one last game to talk about. AFC North between the Bengals and the Texans. You mentioned the Bengals looking good, but they were able to get beat by the rookie CJ Stroud. This was another game where last-second field goal was scored, 38-yard field goal by Matt Amendola. He was signed on Tuesday of this week, and he comes in, hits a few field goals, gets the winning score, and gives Houston the big 30-27 win, improving Houston to 5-4, dropping Cincy to 5-4, and snapped their 4-game winning streak. The Texans had 500 yards of offensive game, and CJ Stroud is starting to separate himself for the rookie of the year. I think nobody's even close right now to what he's doing.
Oh yeah, no, it's pretty obvious to me that he's going to be rookie of the year. He's by far and away the best rookie quarterback of the class. He's playing the best. 23 of 39, 356 yards, 1 touchdown, fortunately 1 pick, but he also ran 1 in as well. He's just making all the right choices. And then also too, who knew that his receiving core was actually this talented? Maybe he did. Yeah. I don't think anybody else did. Tank Dell had 6 receptions for 56 yards and a touchdown. Yeah, man, it was an impressive win by the Texans, but Bengals had a chance to win this game. Yeah. But Boyd dropped the pass.
Oh God, that was right in his hands, And yeah, this whole narrative changes if he catches that ball. And he had caught one just a minute before and ran down the sideline, and he had a great game, but that was in his hands, and I don't know how he drops it. I don't remember ever seeing him drop a ball that wide open and that easy.
Yeah, man. Like if he makes that catch, the Bengals win this game. But he dropped the pass and then opened the door for the Texans to win the game, and that's exactly what they did. I feel really bad for him, but this is definitely a game that the Bengals should have had.
Should have had, yeah. Yeah, he had over 100 yards. So did Jamar. And yeah, he had really set them up before early with a couple of great grabs. And oh man, yeah, that's just disappointing that you could really honestly point to one play in the game where if he catches that, the Bengals win. If he misses it, the Houston wins. That's insane. Over a 60-minute game with so many plays, it really came down to that play.
Yeah, it absolutely did. And unfortunately, he didn't make the play for them to win the game.
Listen to this stuff about CJ Stroud. For the second straight week, he led a game-winning drive in the final 2 minutes, making him the only rookie quarterback in the past 40 years to do so in back-to-back games. He's got 2,626 passing yards on the season, 3rd highest total ever for a rookie through his first 9 games. So, starting to do some historic things and looking so confident out there. And he was missing 2 of their starters. He was missing Nico Collins and Dameon Pierce, 2 guys that have been great this year, and he still just stepped up. Singletary had a phenomenal game, though. 30 carries, 150 yards and touchdown. And I didn't expect Singletary to be this dominant through this year, but he's been fantastic for them. Houston hosts Arizona, so probably going to 6-4 on the year. unless Kyler Murray can pull off some great things. And then the Cincinnati-Baltimore game Thursday, we mentioned just a few minutes ago. Great game. Looking forward to that one. Well, there's been a few stinkers at prime time, but that one I think will be something to watch.
No, I think that's going to be a great game. Very much looking forward to seeing that one.
We've covered the entire AFC South. I just want to mention the records. Jacksonville is leading with their 6-3 record. Houston's sitting on second place at 5-4. The Colts are 5-5 in third, and the Titans fall to 3-6 and fall to the basement there. So that is the okay. I got to take a really quick pause. Give me a pause, 1 sec, okay?
Okay. Okay. All right.
Took a little pause. I had a phone call come through, needed to answer. So, okay. That was the NFL story. Now we're going to the UFC 295 from Madison Square Garden. This was the second highest grossing gate in Madison Square Garden history. They were able to get $12.4 million. The first ever overall was UFC 205. Conor McGregor, Eddie Alvarez, $17.7 million gate. And they also have the third highest of all time, which was Pereira Adesanya 280 UFC 281, $11.6 million. They love going to Madison Square Garden. There was a lot of problems with getting into New York, getting sanctioned, getting into MSG. But since they've been in MSG, it's just been a match made in heaven. Do you realize that Alex Pereira had his first fight in the UFC ever in Madison Square Garden, had his first belt that he won against Izzy in Madison Square Garden, and then won his second belt ever in Madison Square Garden, November 2021, November 2022, and now November 2023. How phenomenal and crazy is that?
That's ridiculous. Like, you would never think that he would be able to do something like this, let alone, I think, in 7 fights in the UFC, win 2 belts.
Yeah.
I think 7 fights and 2 belts. So
yeah,
that in itself is unreal.
He's only had 11 fights as a mixed martial artist, and he's able to be the only fighter to ever hold the middleweight and the light heavyweight belts. And he is, he's had just a meteoric career, absolutely incredible. And this main event was so highly anticipated. I was beyond excited for it. I just saw these two of the best strikers that have ever walked on the face of the planet coming in against each other. And Pereira was able to do it. I thought Yuri Prochazka, I was leaning towards him because of his unorthodox style, because he has always fought light heavyweight guys. Pereira, this was only the second light heavyweight fight he had, and he had only faced middleweight guys for his entire MMA career. And I just saw Prochazka, as long as he was healthy from that shoulder injury, I thought he was going to hold the edge. And somehow this ended up, Alex Pereira getting his hand raised, getting the belt wrapped around him, and getting the victory. Even though it was an early stoppage in my mind, I still got to give it to him. He won this fight, and he is the champion. And really extraordinary, incredible meteoric career already for him. Yeah,
it's just absolutely incredible. The thing that is the most devastating weapon that Pereira has as an attack is that calf kick.
Yeah.
I think he hit Prochazka with 3 calf kicks, and you could tell that he was already severely damaged from those calf kicks. Yeah. Severely damaged, where it's like he's certainly compromised. And you're like, wow, 3 kicks from that dude, and that guy's like, all right, I'm going to take this down to the mat. And Prochazka was smart in doing that, and he needed to continue to do that to give himself a chance in the fight. But Pereira's that good. He got caught, and then he got taken out with those short elbows to the temple. I thought it was a little bit of a quick stoppage as well as you. I thought he yes, he fell over, but I thought he was still with it.
Yeah.
I thought he was still with the fight, and especially with the way that he stood up after, I was like, that's not a great look, right? But it was too late by then. Whatever. I give Pereira credit. Prohaska never even. That guy is the quintessential sportsman.
Wow.
Never complained about the stoppage.
Yeah.
Classy right to the end.
Yeah.
So Pereira wins. But the other thing that I thought that was very telling in this fight, Pereira was just as big as Prohaska, maybe even bigger.
Yeah.
Like there's the size of the two men. Yeah, you don't have a size advantage over this guy. Period.
Yeah, I thought there was going to be a size advantage, and there's not. They look identical bodies, and yeah, it was crazy. Yeah, definitely some of those hammer fists and then a couple elbows seem to, really stop his movements from trying to get the fight to the ground. And I thought he was kind of a little bit just off balance, and Pereira just pushed him down. And maybe he was pulling for guard or something even. Yeah. And then when Goddard just jumped in to stop it, and he looked over, I think he almost thought to himself, "Uh-oh," and he almost like stepped back to let him go back at it, and then realized, "Hey, I can't do that. I've already called it off." And so I was disappointed. It's really the only disappointment I can tell that I can say about that whole night. But definitely he was compromised from some of those elbows. They were very devastating, and he would have probably took a few more shots on the ground. But this is for a belt. This is for the light heavyweight championship. This is a former champion in this weight class. Like, don't you as a referee want to give him every opportunity that you can and allow him to go out on his shield and fight, a little bit more? I just thought, it was a bad look. And I think, from online stuff, I saw, majority of people were like, "Oh man, like too bad. That was an early stoppage." And I'm really disappointed that it has that kind of controversy around it.
Yeah, it sucks because this was a great night of fights.
Yeah.
And just for the main event to kind of end like that, it was just a little bit of a bad taste in your mouth, you know what I mean? So, but at the end of the day, Pereira wins. Maybe at some point in time they have Prohaska fight Pereira again in the future at some point, but the whole light heavyweight division is kind of messed up right now because of the severity of the injuries of all the champions that they've had and everything else. So I have no idea who Pereira fights next, to be honest. I don't know.
He called out Adesanya. He said he wants Adesanya to step up in weight and fight him at that weight. Adesanya tried once and it didn't go well. I don't see that happening, especially at this moment. Adesanya has already said he wanted to take a very long break and step away from the sport for a while, so he might not be in the mix. Jamal Hill is there. Jamal did suffer that ruptured Achilles. And if he's hanging out with Aaron Rodgers, maybe he gets back soon, and they can make that work. The only other guy that I think sort of makes sense would be Cyril Gahn. Maybe if that's a guy that maybe is there. I don't know. I don't know how this is all going to play out, but he's the champion. We'll see what they figure out, how they make this work. And this stopped Yuri's 13 fight win streak. He had been absolutely phenomenal. 23 first round finishes, 25 knockouts, 3 submissions, and they gave $50K to Pereira for that win, and it was well deserved. That's an amazing moment in the UFC for him to hold 2 belts in 7 fights in 2 different weight classes. Unbelievable. Uncle Dana was pretty generous that night. He gave out 7 bonuses to the fighters. The fight of the night ended up being a draw, which was amazing. I don't remember ever having a fight of the night being a draw. There was 7 knockouts on the card, 1 submission, 4 decisions, and a draw, and the draw got fight of the night. We'll talk about that in a sec. Pereira got $50K. Diego Lopez got $50K. Benoit Saint Denis, Jessica Andrade, and Tom Aspinall, all the guys and all the fighters that got stoppages on the main card. We'll talk about the co-main event. This was a heavyweight titanic battle, a big clash between two guys that are, both the same age, 30 and 31 years old, both heavily touted coming in. And, this was, to me, I was really excited about seeing these two young guys getting an opportunity to face each other. And I thought Tom Aspinall probably had a bit of an advantage with his speed and movement, and it proved to be kind of the case. He got hit a couple of times very well by Pavlovich, but he's got a good chin, and he was able to land that shot that knocked him down and took him out, and he holds the belt. This is the first English-born champion in the history of the UFC. In 30 years, they've never had an English champion, which blows my mind.
Yeah. Yeah, that is amazing. He's the first guy.
Yeah.
And ironically enough, he did it with his boxing.
Yeah.
So which was fully on display. Yeah. When he hit Pavlovich with those two shots with his right hand, I was just like, oh my goodness, it is freaking over. Yeah, it was. Yeah. I was super impressed. Impressive win, and just with the speed of it too, because you're thinking, all right, man, this is gonna be a long one. This could be an absolute war. No, it was done in 1 minute and 9 seconds. We're good.
Yeah, it was just wham over. So who does he fight next? I think in the post-fight press conference, Dana White said John Jones and Stipe Miocic are fighting each other. Once Jones gets back healthy, those two are fighting each other. So don't think Aspinall's fighting either one of them. It's not happening. I mentioned Cyril Gane last time. I don't know why I said Cyril Gane in the other fight. I mean, for this fight, I think Cyril Gane should be the next opponent for Aspinall. Yeah,
but does it make sense for Aspinall to even take that fight if he knows he's next up between Jones and Miocic? You know what I mean? Like now he's caught in a no-win situation where the UFC has just said that fight is happening. It's not like it's not happening. That fight is happening once he gets healthy. So then what's the bonus for me to fight a guy knowing that I already got my spot?
Right. Yeah. True enough. It could be a long layoff, though. Could be a pretty long layoff. Jones's injury ripped the pec off the muscle or off the bone. It's going to take him a while to recover. And then, we're talking about maybe 9 months, then a fight, and then, maybe 3, 4, 6 months later. So, is a guy going to be wanting to be on the shelf that long?
Yeah, that's true. And then that's a decision he'll have to make for himself, because he's literally looking at 12 to 15 months before he would fight again. Yeah. But once he fights again, he knows that he's definitely fighting for a title fight.
Yeah. Yeah, it'd be nice to see if you could put that into a contract or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
Aspinall has the second most finishes in the UFC since 2020 with 7. Kevin Holland, who's very active, he has 8. 14-3 record, and a guy that's really, really, really super talented. I'm blown away at how fast his rise has been. I see a very big card in England with Aspinall as the main event. They've had a few at the O2 Arena with him there. He had that unfortunate knee injury when he was fighting Blades before. They could put him up against him again, maybe. Blades is number 5 in the division. Cyril Gane's number 2. And then you got Stipe and John Jones in the mix there. But we'll see what they plan to do next. Dana White made it sound like, I paid him a lot of money tonight. He's got a lot of money. He could go for a while and have a good life as the heavyweight champion, and wait for the winner between the Stipe and John Jones. So we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. I always have a very hard time believing anything that man says, because he's lied a ton of times. So I'm sure Aspinall made a ton of money, but I don't know what his version of a ton of money is.
All right.
From Dana White. Right. I don't know what that means.
Yeah.
Right, so.
Michael Bisping looked super thrilled. Michael Bisping was always considered that, first champion of an English fighter, but Michael Bisping was born in Cyprus, so not technically born in England. Rocky Edwards, an English champion, not born there, but raised there. And so, I think they have the ability that if they can find a nice window, they can do an outdoor soccer stadium show now. They've got Rocky, they've got Aspinall, they've got lots of English fighters, Paddy Pimblett and Molly Meatball, and they've got quite a few to draw there. I think Dana White's scared of it raining and being pretty inclement weather there, but I think a soccer stadium should be the next thing they do there.
I think that would be a great idea. And yes, you're absolutely right. They have the stars to get the majority of the fans out there to fill up a stadium. So yeah, if they can do it, they should do it for sure.
Yeah. Okay, let's try to fly through. We're running out of time. Jessica Andrade got a very big victory over Mackenzie Dern. Mackenzie made a big mistake keeping this fight standing and trying to trade, throw haymakers with Andrade. Andrade came in on a 3-fight losing streak, but man, is she ever tough, muscular, pit bull. Knocked Dern down 4 times till finally the referee said that was enough. And Andrade, looks like a killer and really got a big win. Mackenzie, huge mistake keeping this standing.
Yeah, I don't understand why she thought she could. You know what I mean? Like Andrade is clearly the stronger, more technical striker. I thought she would have played to her advantage and take it to the ground. Yeah. She didn't do that. I don't know if it was ego playing into a factor there, but I thought eventually Andrade was more tactical and technical within her approach in the striking, and Dern was eventually at one point in time flailing.
Yeah,
she began to flail. She thought to herself, maybe if I just catch her, that's what it felt like to me. Maybe if I just catch her with one of these wild swings, I'll get it over with and get her out of there. It's like, no, that's actually not how that's going to work. She's going to continue to keep knocking you down until she knocks you out.
Yeah, that's what happened. Yeah, big mistake, and she paid the price. So Andrade moves on. Mackenzie will fall back a little bit. But okay, the lightweight fight, as I mentioned, Benoit Saint Denis also got the $50K bonus for his really quick knockout, 1.5 minutes over Matt Frivola. Saint Denis is a guy that's look out, top 15 and moving up the ranks big time. This guy is a one of those what's the term? He was like a special forces guy.
Special forces, military.
And French army, and when he goes in to take a guy out, he is. And look out, this division should be all put on notice. He's coming.
Yeah, man. Like I do want to say, like, when you have that mentality, you're just a different fighter altogether.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you are born different, you're bred different, you are different than everybody else on the roster, because you know actually what war is all about. You know what I mean? Like you've been in there and you put your life on the line. You could have died, and guess what? Since you're special forces, you're one of the best at that. So I'm not surprised to see that he can evolve this quickly within MMA. I'm not surprised to see that. And every time you see him in there, he's getting better and better and better. Yeah. And that was a beautiful left high kick that he caught on Frivola while he was moving away after being taken down, and that knocked him out. It's beautiful. All she wrote, done.
I was watching this fight with Stefan, and he said, "What the hell was he running from? Did he get hit or something? Why was he running?" And we watched the replay, and he was like, "No, he was just running because he was worried about it." And he just ended up stepping into the zone where that kick could land, and it took him out. And he was running for his life and didn't get out of range enough in time, and lost in 1.5 minutes. Also in 1.5 minutes, the fight between Diego Lopez and Pat Sabatini ended. Diego Lopez with the worst haircut in MMA, but one of the best, most accomplished featherweights, gets another massive KO himself and impresses the boss, gets $50K, impressed everybody who watched it over a tough Pat Sabatini.
Huge. Lopez is a huge rising star. Like his star is just going to be on the rise for the next little bit. Caught Sabatini as he was trying to come up with punches, and then that's what rocked Sabatini, and then he was able to get the ground and pound finish, and he did it quick. Like, and Sabatini is a very good fighter. He looked super impressive. The sky's the limit for Lopez.
Yeah.
Sky's the limit.
$50K for him too. The main fight on the feature fight on the prelims was the flyweight battle between Steve Erceg and Alessandro Costa. Erceg was supposed to fight number 9 ranked Matthew Schnell. Schnell had to withdraw and was replaced by Costa late last week. Astro Boy put on a great performance, got a good win over a really tough guy, and he said he actually felt like Costa was a tougher opponent for him, and got a nice, impressive decision win.
Yeah, he did, and he actually managed to change the fight around by grappling him along the fence.
Yeah,
I thought that's where he definitely changed the fight, and then got the win because he was grappling him, got the positioning, and didn't give Costa enough space so he could land his power shots, which he was beginning to land. Actually, I think in the second round or something.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Lupi Godinez gets her victory. That was her 5th fight in 2023. She set a record for women. No woman has ever got 4 wins in a calendar year. She's a Vancouver former Mexican girl, has spent a lot of years here in Vancouver, and she was able to get a split decision victory over Baby Shark Tabitha Ricci. I don't know why the one judge gave it to Tabitha. I thought Lupi won this fight fair and square easily enough, but it's split decision victory nonetheless, gets the win.
Yeah, okay. That's what I wanted to start with first. That judge should not be a judge. 30-27 for Ricci. That's egregious. That's horrible. What are you doing? What fight were you watching?
Yeah.
I thought Ricci, one of her main problems was that she was short arming her punches. She was not following through on a ton of her punches because she didn't feel comfortable with what was coming back at her. And that's why Godinez was super efficient within her strikes, because her counters were effective enough that Ricci didn't want to throw.
Yeah.
That's what you want to fight.
Yeah, good point. Very good point. Mateusz Rebecki, he got a big armbar finish over Roosevelt Roberts, who came in late notice. This lasted just over 3 minutes. It was a verbal tap. His arm was going to be severely compromised and broken if he didn't yell out "stop." And Rebecki is a very tough guy, European fighter, lightweight. Look out! Big win for him. Roosevelt was overmatched in this one.
Oh yeah, he was definitely overmatched, and especially when I thought the setup that he had for the armbar was beautiful, because he had his back, and then he kept hooking the one arm, and I'm like, well, how's he going to transition to do that's how he's going to do it. Okay. Yeah. It was slick, it was fast, and Roberts knew he was immediately in trouble. And then especially when he forced him down to the ground, and then he had to yell out, "I tap, please, I tap." So great win by Rebecki.
And as I mentioned off the top, the fight that kicked off the prelims had the Russians, Nazim Sadikov against Slavoklav's Vyacheslav Borshev. This fight ended up in a draw and got $50K to both guys for a fight of the night. Slava used incredible combinations and kicks to just dominate rounds 1 and 3, but almost got finished in round 2 when Sadikov landed some heavy shots, took him down, and was grounded pounding him. Almost finished the fight. Ended up getting a 10-8 decision on the judges' scorecards. Ended up in a draw, and not very many draws most people are happy about, but I think almost everybody was happy with this draw, and especially because they both got $50K for it. Great fight. 2 guys really going for it. Slavakov's better in 2 rounds, but that dominant second round ended up getting a 10-8 and giving a draw to Nazim.
I believe this just happened in the last UFC, right? Where it was a draw, but both fighters were like, yeah, we're good with it. We're good with this one. Yeah. And again, both these fighters were good with this because they realized it's like, not even as we did the scoring in our own heads, it is a draw. Because I almost got finished in the second round. Borshev was super impressive in rounds 1 and 3, putting together his combos. He looked slick, especially with the round 3, with the way that he was able to battle back into the fight after almost being taken out by Sadikov. And Sadikov is super tough. That guy is super durable, super tough, and almost had the win in round 2, but was not able to put him out. I was more than happy with the majority draw, and I did think that this was possibly the best fight on the card.
Yeah, it was great. Early prelims, I watched them. Did you get a chance to see those as well?
I did not. Okay. I did not.
Jared Gordon got a big KO win over Mark Madsen. Decision win by John Castaneda and Joshua Van. And a really amazing, good knockout by Jamal Emmers, 49 seconds over Dennis Bazooka. It was super impressive and nice to see him get the quick win. So we have a fight coming up this weekend, which I'm really looking forward to. Early start. The prelims, they start at 11 a.m. Pacific and 2 o'clock Eastern, and then 2 o'clock kicks off the main card. And this is Brendan Allen, Paul Craig. Very, 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 both guys I love, and this is a very exciting main event.
Great main event. Great main event. I'm looking forward to this one. I think for Brendan Allen, his approach should be, don't give Paul Craig a chance on the ground.
Yeah.
Just keep it standing.
Yeah.
If I'm Brendan Allen, I would not go to the ground with that guy. You know how dangerous he is, and you know how fast he can lock up those locks, the arm bars, whatever have you. Keep it on its feet, keep it standing. I think Brendan Allen gets this fight.
Yeah, I agree. They were supposed to fight a few weeks back, and so I don't know why this got pushed, but yeah, I'm glad they're finally going to pull this together. Yeah, decent fights on the other parts of the fight. Any fight you want to make mention of that, look out for fight of the night? Anything that stands out for you?
You know what? I'm going to go with the co-main event. I'm going to go with the Michael Morales, Jake Matthews. I think that should be a banger of a fight.
Yeah.
But the other fight that could be good, potentially, is Chase Hooper and Jordan Levin.
Yeah. What did you think of the appearance of Donald Trump and Kid Rock and those guys that showed up to the UFC event? What do you think?
Well, first off, I was trying to get in my head. I'm like, are those two together right now? I guess so, right? Because you got a bunch of security detail that's always with Donald, and then I'm like, okay, I guess he's hanging out with Kid Rock tonight. It's super weird. And then the other thing that I always think of is, isn't he going through a court case right now? Seems very unconcerned with that. That's cool. Good stuff.
Yeah. A lot of controversy because Bill Burr's wife was caught as Donald Trump was sort of passing by their seats. Bill Burr's wife was caught flipping the bird to the camera, and it kind of looked like she might be flipping the double bird to Trump. And wow, it has created a firestorm online. You got to check out some of the stuff, some of the things that people have been saying. Any Trump supporters are really calling her a lot of mean names, and a lot of other people are saying, way to go, good job. But it's not for sure that she's flipping him off. She might be just flipping the camera off. But anyway, take a look online. It's quite the firestorm happening there.
Oh, so what? You know what? That just gives Bill Burr a lot of material. A ton of material.
Yeah.
He's going to have fun with that. They're going to be fine. He's probably going to even make more money because of it.
Yeah, good chance. Yeah. It was weird and funny, but yeah, it doesn't matter one way or the other. In the grand scheme of things. NBA news just quickly. We got to finish this off right now. I was going to kind of go through most teams. I do want to highlight the Philadelphia 76ers, who are leading the Eastern Conference with an 8-0 record. They lost their opening game of the season against the Bucs by 1 point. Now they've won 8 in a row, got rid of that cancer Harden. Tyrese Maxey is stepping up, 50 points yesterday. Absolutely playing phenomenal. They should have done this last year, maybe, and got rid of Harden and looking great. I'm very impressed with what the Philadelphia is doing and leading the entire East with an 8-1 record. And the only drawback and downer was that Kelly Oubre got hit by a car crossing a sidewalk, crossing a crosswalk over the weekend, and ended up in the hospital. He definitely has broken ribs. Got hit by the side view mirror, hit and run, and I don't know what other injuries, but they said significant amount of time he's going to miss. So he was quite a good piece and had been playing really, really well for them. So this was a blow, but everything else seems to be coming up roses for the 76ers, looking good out of the gate.
Well, okay. Well, first off, I do want to say, at least it wasn't any worse for Kelly Oubre. It sucks that he got hurt, but at least he didn't lose his life. That's number one. That's first and foremost.
True.
And then I also want to say, I said it before, that get rid of Harden, you unleash Maxey. That's exactly what has happened.
Yeah.
That is exact. I believe Maxey's averaging 28 points this year so far. Awesome. So he's been awesome. The 76ers are so much better for not having Harden there, because if you look on the other side of the world where Harden went to, the Clippers, they are 0-4, and people are not happy.
Yeah.
People are not happy. The teammates aren't happy. It's like, for me, I look at that and I think to myself, if you decide to punt this one as well and say, I'm going to force my way out of this situation as well, you know what this will equate to? I remember I sent you that announcer that did that huge rant on Harden. Yeah. This will equate to this, and I absolutely agree with him. You're out of the league. You're out of the league, son. No more wiggle room. You're done.
Done. Yeah. I'm shocked that anybody keeps giving him an opportunity, and it's amazing how he's just burned every single bridge, and he just keeps getting chances, and it's unbelievable that he's doing this, and it's really apparent quick, very, very fast who got the best out of the deal, and who made the right move there. And Sixers are looking good. I'm looking forward really heavily to this game on Wednesday between them and the Celtics. Celtics are 7-2, sitting in second in the conference. This game should be great. Hopefully everybody's healthy and we get to see the top two teams battle. Philly's next game is the in-season tournament on Tuesday against the Pacers, who sit in third, but the Celtics game is the following night, Wednesday. Very fun game.
Oh, yeah, no, it's going to be a great game, especially against the two powerhouses in the East. Good game. Yeah. Definitely looking forward to it.
Yeah, kind of cool. Sixers play number 2. They play number 3. And we'll get to see who's really working on themselves out. Number 4, Heat have won 5 in a row after a really tough start to the season. Bam is playing phenomenal. They're able to get Robinson in there. They're able to get a lot of the pieces working. And I'm impressed with Miami's 5-game win streak.
Yeah. And I believe Butler is back in there and he's playing well as well. And that Heat culture, it's just a matter of time before they turn it around and start playing the way they're supposed to.
Yeah, disappointing start to the year for the Bucs, sitting at 5-4, down in 8th. That's kind of surprising. Are you surprised?
They need to figure out their defense, and Middleton is not where he needs to be quite yet either. So, because if you go from a Drew Holiday, who is one of the best point of the attack defenders in the association period, to a Damian Lillard, who is not that at all, you have to adjust your defense. Yeah. And I don't think they've figured that piece out yet. But once they do, they should be fine.
Raptors are 4-5, up and down. I think we'll expect kind of around a 500 record for them this year. And I enjoy watching them at times, and then other times I don't. I think they'll take a while to figure out. Over in the West, the Nuggets sit on top. I thought they would, but Mavericks, I'm quite surprised. They're 8-2, tied with the same record, sitting in second place in the conference. Maybe this Kyrie thing, they've got it sort of figured out a little bit.
Yeah, I think it's more to do though with the fact that Luka Doncic is absolutely freaking amazing. And I will give credit where credit's due. The pieces that they put around those two are working.
Yeah,
those are working. So that's good. The thing I'm more impressed with is the fact that the Timberwolves are 7-2.
Yeah,
I don't know how that happened. Anthony Edwards is a stud. Okay, and then the other thing that's shocking is the Rockets are in fourth.
Yeah,
at 6-3.
Yeah, I know. I was blown away by their performances lately. They ended up beating the Nuggets yesterday, and like wow, they seem to have really turned this thing around so fast. Fred VanVleet is playing out of his mind, and a lot of the pieces that they have are playing fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of the pieces they have are playing fantastic, and they beat the Nuggets. Right? They beat the Nuggets, and I do want to say this: I love Sengun. I love the way that dude plays. He's got a little bit of Joker in him. He's not Joker, but he's got a little bit of that in him. And then also too, one last thing. In that game, you know what Jokic is. He had another triple-double, 36 points, 21 rebounds, and 11 assists.
21 rebounds, yeah. Unreal.
So again, it's like, oh, well, I did what I could. I don't know about
Yeah, no shit, yeah. I really enjoyed watching that Thunder Suns game yesterday. OKC, fun team to watch. Love seeing the Shea playing so well. Lou Dort's playing great. Look out for the Thunder this year. Warriors are struggling, 6-5 on the season. Nobody expected them to be out the gates this bad. They're only 1-3 at home. Hopefully they don't flip the script and be great on the road and terrible at home this year. Hopefully they can figure it out, but they have lost 3 in a row, and something's wrong in San Francisco.
Well, you know what? I'm going to give the Warriors a little bit of a pass because the Western Conference compared to the Eastern Conference is sharks. They're all sharks, man. Because if just me looking at the standings right now, the Rockets are in fourth. They're supposed to be at the bottom.
Yeah, right.
So that tells me how bad the West is. The West is hard. The West is hard. And I'm not look at the Pelicans. They're supposed to be pretty good. They're at 4-6.
Yeah.
Suns are at 4-6.
Yeah.
Is it tough?
Both the Pelicans and Clippers have lost 5 in a row. Spurs have lost 5 in a row. When the Clippers lost to the Grizzlies on the weekend, I think it really, really ignited the fans against Harden. And it's going to get ugly there if they don't turn this around soon. We'll see. I love all the stuff you post and you send to me on Instagram. I loved seeing Magic Johnson join the Athletes Billionaires Club, joining Michael Jordan, LeBron James, and
Tiger Woods.
That's pretty incredible that 3 basketball players are all now billionaires, and very cool to see that these guys and been able to really utilize their on the court talent and translate it into the business world, and be able to become that successful financially. It's incredible and great.
It is, because they've been rich themselves, and along the way of enriching themselves, they're enriching others.
Yeah,
that's the big payoff.
And I forgot to mention while we were talking about Romeo Dobbs, about that one you threw me or you sent me where he hit those garbage cans and hit the upright. How accurate his throws were! Like, that's phenomenal. Those must have been 40, 50 yards down the field, and he just throws it into a garbage can over there, throws another one there, hits the upright perfectly. Like, I don't think they were fake. They look totally real to me.
Yeah, no, I think that was real. I don't think that was AI edited. And on top of that, I think I sent you the other little thing of that's why he was traded, because he's too good.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's what Arizona looked like. They were tanking. They won yesterday, pissing off their management team. Their owners are like, "What are you doing? We're trying to lose. What are you doing?"
Yeah, and then Kyler's like, "Well, why am I playing then?"
Yeah. Okay, man. Well, this was great. Thanks for doing this on a holiday Monday. I'm glad you had a nice restful weekend. Enjoy the rest of your rest. Enjoy the Monday night game. Enjoy that basketball game this week between Philly and Boston. Should be awesome. And hopefully Oubre isn't out long. I'd love to see the Sixers team finally be really, really good. And it would actually be amazing to see them win a title. It'd be great.
No, I think it would be great, and I think it would just be more telling that were able to do that after Harden leaves the team. I think that would be icing on the cake.
Oh, it sure be. Yeah. Okay, man. Well, good luck. Have a great week ahead, and keep in touch. We'll talk to you soon.
Okay, we'll talk to you soon. Take it easy.
Okay, thanks. Bye for now. Okay, we have reached the end of another episode of Complete Sports Media's podcast. I'm really excited. That was fun. We covered a ton of things as usual. Tried to keep it a little bit shorter. Sorry for the length sometimes. Some people love the length because they, can do it during work, and it takes over to sometimes. Some people, I know it's so long and can't, find all the time to fill it in. But thank you for the people that have stuck to the end, and appreciate your support as always. I want to thank our partners and sponsors as always. Anchor.fm, easiest place to make a podcast, phenomenal at posting on multiple podcast platforms. And Verbero, the hockey equipment and apparel company, industry leader in technology, performance, and value. V350 stick is a must-have. Pampas and Possibilities, get them into your home. They spruce it up, make it look great with their West Coast vibes and awesomeness. And Forever Living, the aloe vera company for health and beauty products. They are great. You can get them at discounted rates on our website, as well as the Verbero stuff too. You can get those discounted rates. So take care of yourself. Have a great week ahead. Love you guys lots. Take care, and we will talk soon. Bye for now.